Okay, welcome everyone. And this is an event in the International Festival of Teacher Research. I'm Richard Smith. I teach at the University of Warwick, and we are organising this festival. This is possibly one of the last, well, it's definitely one of the last events in a whole series of events we've had, and this is to map and draw lessons from different teacher research mentoring initiatives around the world and to inspire others to maybe engage in mentoring, teacher research, or organize mentoring support schemes themselves. You can see the website for this festival, and I'll draw your attention to that because there are a lot of recordings available on this website now from different parts of the world, different experiences around the world, showing how teachers can be supported to do research into their classrooms, which we find is a very useful and empowering activity. It doesn't need to be involving a lot of extra work. It can be quite practical and combined with teaching. This is what we find. So MentorNet is the organization which is really supporting this. MentorNet, MENTR net, one word, .net. And if you go /festival, you'll find this page, which is, as I said, already we have a lot of events since last year. It all began with a conference of teacher research. So over 2 days, different teachers come and present their research, mentored by different people from around the world. That was last March. And um, the festival is going to be ended soon in 2 weeks by another conference. So the 1 year later, the conference will happen again, and we will be providing information about that. So you can see all of these recordings and some handouts from different parts of the world on this website. And today, um, one thing we did, by the way, was to launch a publication, which you might be interested in if you don't know this publication already. It's called Stories of Mentoring Teacher Research. Um, Maybe Eleonora, you could find this and put the link into the chat. It's on the Research SIG, IATEFL Research SIG website. But this book came out right at the end of last year, and it contains stories of mentoring teacher research from all around the world, starting with Iraq there. But you will see the names of our presenters in this book. Ravi from India has been mentoring a lot of teachers over the years, and we just felt it's really important to acknowledge Ravi's work in some way uh, in the festival. And we found the way of doing this also with Eric and Vinayadhar to focus on the issue of large groups because Ravi really has been mentoring a lot of teachers and how to do that. What are the challenges involved in mentoring not just a small group of teachers, but really quite a lot of teachers. So that's why we've got this event today. We really wanted to highlight the achievements and the successes as well as the challenges of people like Ravi in India. He's going to talk about it himself. I won't say more. Um, okay, and also, of course, Vinayadhar a little bit later with a teacher association in Telangana, again in India, and again it involved a lot of teachers. So we brought Vinayadhar's experience together as well with Eric, and Eric here has a chapter from Cameroon on mentoring a large group of teachers, and maybe that gave the inspiration for today's theme or topic. Brings together, of course, three very different contexts, but they have in common this idea of large groups of teachers. So this is today's event, mentoring large groups to engage in teacher research. So there are our presenters today. But we're going to start with Ravi talking for about 15 minutes, maybe Ravi. Go We'll have
Yes.
5 minutes, maybe question and answer after you talk about your experience.
Yeah.
Then Eric, we'll go over to Eric about his experience for about 15 minutes again, question and answer for 5 minutes, and then Vinayadhar, if he's able to join us, in from Telangana in India again. And you can find information about. I won't introduce each speaker, but well, you can see information there. Ravi is a professor at the Regional Institute of English in South India, and he's been very active in teacher education for a long time. Eric, based again a teacher educator, experienced teacher educator in Yaoundé in Cameroon. He runs the Camelta Research Group and also is outreach coordinator of the IATA for Research Sick. And Vinayadhar is, again, a very experienced English language educator from Telangana, and he's the General Secretary of ELTA Telangana, has been leading a lot of good initiatives with that teacher association. Okay, so I'm going to stop talking now, and I'm going to hand over to you, Ravi, for the first section. So over to you.
Yeah. Thank you, Richard. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining. Yeah. Hope all of you can see my slides.
Yes, we can.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Right. Yeah. So this is what I'll be talking about in today's presentation. I'll just briefly explain the context where I work and then talk about the group I've been mentoring and how I train or mentor the school teachers. And then also I'll discuss the challenges and finally maybe the outcomes of my mentoring. Right. Yeah. Okay. So I'll just play. I mean, this is just a 3 seconds video. Let me video with just to. I mean, yeah. 1 second. So let me share this. Stop sharing and then. How can I share this link? One second. Let me try. Yeah.
Audio is not. Hi, Ravi. We are not able to hear this video.
Picture. Can you see the picture? No.
We can see
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
No
Picture
problem.
we can
Yeah.
see.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no
Yeah.
problem. Yeah.
Picture we can see, Ravi. If
Can
there
talk
is
about it.
sound,
There is
we
no
No,
can't.
there
sound.
is no sound. There is no sound.
Yeah.
Okay.
No sound.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
There is no sound.
Okay.
Don't worry. Just tell us about it. Yeah.
Yeah. So just to
Yeah.
give you a feeling of the group.
Yeah.
So that is a large group, right?
Yeah. Play it one more time. Play it one more time.
Oh,
And tell
one
us.
more time. Okay, okay. Right. Let me, yes. Share the screen. Stop sharing.
It's okay. You can still see. Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Sorry. 1 second.
Yep. How many people are there in the class? How many in the class, Ravi? Lots.
Yeah.
50?
So how many? Can anybody guess? Yeah.
50.
60?
60. Yeah. 60 to 70. Normally it's a group of 60 to 70 teachers.
Hmm.
And they come from different states. We train teachers from 5 states in South India. So this is a current batch that I'm mentoring. They're on the campus, around 72 teachers. They have just finished their exploratory research. They'll complete their 1 month training, go back to schools and do action research. Okay, so these are some of the context. Context is, as you know, so this is a context. We conduct 1 month in-service teacher training program at the Regional Institute of English, Bangalore. Is the slide visible? Yeah, okay. So we train teachers, in-service teachers from government schools who teach at the primary and secondary levels. They teach English, and they are of different age groups. They have different teaching experiences, beginning with 1 year to 20, 22 years of teaching experience, and their language proficiency levels also vary. So I have introduced exploratory action research in the year 2018. That is the year when Richard and Paulo Rebeledo's handbook came out on exploratory action research. And so far I have trained around 2,000 teachers. All of them, I can say, have completed their exploratory research, but action research, not all, but majority of them have done their action research as well. Okay, so this is a group, yes. So these are some of the principles and strategies I follow when I train or mentor these teachers. At the outset, I try to create a safe environment where teachers feel comfortable sharing their classroom challenges and seeking support and guidance from us. And then I set goals and clarify the objectives. What are my expectations? I make it very clear on the very first session. And then I provide input on exploratory action research. We have a unit on EAR in our training module. It's a module for 1 month, which includes all the other areas in ELT. So one unit is on EAR. And then I also use the handbook for exploratory action research extensively. And Vinayadhar has joined. So along with the input, I also provide them materials. Like we have uploaded a few EAR reports on our official website. And then I also give them access to the teacher research online conference proceedings or presentations that we have had, and also links to IATFL Research SIG publications. And they're also provided opportunities to collaborate within the group. And I also make the sessions flexible and accessible. I'm accessible. I'm available on WhatsApp group we create for each of these cohort. And so at the end, they can send their reports either on WhatsApp or by email. I generally encourage them to send the reports by email. Or even in case some of them don't have email IDs, they can share their reports on WhatsApp as well. And some of them write the reports by hand and they submit it in person. So that is the flexibility that I have built into this mentoring program. And then what is also important is I engage them beyond the structured sessions. We have, for example, 2 to 3 sessions in a week, and then, which is not sufficient actually. So I encourage them to engage themselves beyond these official sessions. And another principle I follow is involving everybody, motivating everyone. So I adopt a case study approach. I present real life examples of successful teacher research projects. I give the example of Vinayadhar Raju. I share his report. It's there in the module. And also I share presentations made by teachers from previous cohorts and what steps they have followed, what challenges they have faced, and what are the outcomes they have achieved. So I share a few case studies. And I also try to celebrate small wins. Like at every stage, I acknowledge the progress they make in their exploratory action research. So I do these frequent checks. What have you done so far? What stage have you reached? And they feel motivated. And They're also given opportunities for peer mentoring. I'll talk about this later. So the entire group of 70 teachers is divided into 8 to 10 groups. Each group will have a mentor. It's generally I don't have any criteria to identify a mentor, but based on their language proficiency, somebody who is good at coordinating, collaborating, who has got, time to do this, he's nominated as a mentor for the group. So he finds time, arranges meetings outside the regular sessions. Okay, so these are the sessions I plan. Sessions I generally plan for my EAR project. I begin with success stories. So first session is on success stories. I encourage every one of them to narrate their successful experiences, stories from their classrooms. They do it in small groups first, then individually they come and share their success stories. And then I give these questions. Why do you think it was a success? Did you get any feedback? I think all of us who are part of this mentornet, we are aware of this enhancement mentoring approach. So what feedback did you get from others? How can you generate more such successes in future? So we begin with this instead of beginning with problems. And then I have flexible yet structured sessions. And then I move on to setting objectives and defining the goals of the EAR mentoring program. That is the first session. Second session is a whole group session where I provide some input on EAR and also give them step-by-step scaffolding. So the whole EAR process is broken into manageable steps. We discuss what is EAR, what it is not, and then identifying some classroom problems, then methods of data collection and tools, data analysis, interpretation, action plan, and implementing change, and then sharing the results. The next slide, is it visible? Yeah, okay. So
Yes, sir.
next session, yes. Next session is so end of second session, I give them a small home task. So they're divided into 8 to 10 groups. And then I make each group to read a chapter from this handbook on exploratory action research. And in the next session, they have to present a brief summary of what they have read in this handbook. So each group will have to present a summary of one chapter. And this helps them to understand different stages involved in EAR. And there they also read some case studies and some EAR reports which have been published in this handbook. And the next session is about challenges. This is the main session where they talk about their classroom problems, classroom difficulties they face while teaching English. They do this in small groups, and based on the topics, they form different groups. So I don't divide them into groups. If, for example, some of them say, my students cannot read and understand text. So whoever finds reading comprehension as a challenge, they form a small group. And then
అది
yes.
చీర సరిగా
So
చేయలేదు బార్డర్.
groups are formed according to the challenges, classroom problems they share, and then a mentor is nominated, and the mentor provides individual support within the group. And these groups are encouraged to collaborate on identifying research questions, sharing data collection methods, and offering feedback. They do it outside our regular sessions. So I think this is also important, finding enough time to do all this. And the next session is mentoring teacher research mentors. So mentors of each group, they report on the progress made by individual members of their group. And then I try to have mentoring conversations with them, try to clarify and then probe and seek further information and try to guide them. If there are some gaps, I try to help them. And once they complete the exploratory research, they collect data from students, they call their students, their parents, and they talk to their colleagues. And they complete their exploratory research by the third week of the training program. In the fourth week, we have mini conferences. So each group has to present their report in different classrooms. We have enough rooms for this. So They share their reports in the form of mini presentations. And each group will select one best report, and then we have a plenary. The best report will be presented in the whole group, in the whole class. So I call it a plenary session. And these are the mini conference sessions, mini presentations made in small groups. So they prepare posters, they make beautiful presentations. And this is a plenary. Yeah, the next question is, do all of this, so do all of them do exploratory action research? Oh, I had some data here. I don't know, somehow it's not visible. So do all of them do EAR? All of them do ER, but not all of them do AR. So ER is exploratory research. All of them do exploratory research. They present the report, they share the report, but not all. So once they go back to their classrooms, they're expected to do action research. Majority of them complete action research as well. I give them 3 months time, but a report they'll have to submit within a month because we have to, grade their performance and all that. So they submit a report after 1 month of the training. That is action research. So if it is a group of 70 teachers, 45 to 50 teachers will do action research, remaining 20 face challenges. There are reasons why they're not able to complete action research because of several factors. So some of the challenges I have faced during this training program is, one is time, lack of enough time. In fact, if I get more time, I can do much more than what I'm doing right now. And then language, it's all done in English, right? EAR handbook is in English, but then we have developed a multilingual chapter on exploratory action research. Whatever unit is there in our module, it's available in different languages. This is a link, actually, I can share it later. So there is EAR, input on EAR in Telugu, in Kannada, in Malayalam. So we have translated. Teachers have done this. Teachers have done all this. So initially language was an issue. They are not, everyone is not able to read, understand, and follow the process in English. That's why I thought of translating it into their languages. This seems to be useful, but again, see, this is, I hope you can see, this is the EAR page in a different language. It's bilingual, actually, in English and Telugu. So objectives are given in both the languages. Objectives of EAR, then what is reflective practice and things like that. So this is, yes. So EAR completion rate, for example, yes. This I have discussed. So action research, again, if we insist on full report, if teachers have to write and submit the full report, then the completion rate is less. If they are asked to send the report through Google form, you can expect almost everyone to complete the Google form and submit their responses. So this story I have shared in our Stories of Mentoring Teacher Research book, actually. So it depends, again, how flexible we are. So outcomes of mentoring. One is, obviously, it has a great impact on their classrooms. And it also contributes to their continuing professional development. Certainly, they become more confident about facing their students, handling classroom issues, and conducting training programs for other teachers. And then they also develop their language. So throughout the process, they talk to each other in English. It develops their fluency and also teaching proficiency. A few reports are presented in seminars and conferences. So every year, just 5 of them present in our online conferences. And one of them presented in the INET International Conference as well. She was selected as the best presenter in the conference. And a few they have undertaken EAR projects at the department, at CRT in their department, and they're part of British Council projects also, especially this 2024-25. And some are interested in pursuing higher studies. And there is one teacher who has registered for PhD. She's doing her PhD. She was so motivated by this exploratory action research. And some present at the online conference. So that's all from my side. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ravi. That was very, very interesting. And yeah, really, I will just ask a few questions, I think, and then we'll move on. And then please, all of you, keep your questions, and we'll have a discussion at the end after Eric and Vinayadhar. But Ravi, I was very interested in how you use mentors within the big group. It reminds me of different ways that people use to teach large classes English. Actually, it's very common in my experience that you'll choose particular students to be group leaders. And you said so you choose those group leaders, I suppose, after they've already formed groups around particular topics. That's right, isn't it? How do you
That's
do
right. Yes,
how,
yes,
how do
yes.
two questions really quickly questions. How do you find out what their topics are? Do they write it on a piece of paper and give it to you and you make groups? And then how do you decide a little bit more about how do you decide who is going to be a leader of the group? Because it sounds like that's how you manage with this large group. And then do you give extra training outside class for those group leaders? That's another question.
Initially, yes, they write down their classroom problems and they present it. They present it within the group, and then the group, they share, they present, and then I help them refine their research, problems and research questions. And then group leaders sometimes they volunteer. So somebody who is confident, he or she volunteers from the group. I will be the leader. Many a time it's a voluntary thing. And sometimes, because it's in the beginning of the training program, we really can't identify who is good, who is not so good. So sometimes it's a random selection. I think that's, if the selection is made in a wise manner, maybe it'll help a lot. But they're also new, mentors also new to EAR.
Yeah.
But then maybe they'll put extra efforts, read the handbook, and then I
Mm.
don't really find time to train them outside the class. So that is, so there isn't much time for me to talk to them and then mentor them,
Yeah.
in fact.
Okay, so let's come back to, I mean, I'm sure everybody is imagining this situation. I'm really wondering how you managed to, manage this large group to achieve what you achieve within 1 month. But it is an amazing achievement, I think, that what you managed to do. So let's come back to Ravi. Please remember your questions. And thank you, Ravi. I'll move on to Eric now. Over to you, Eric, to talk about your experiences.
Okay, thank you very much, Richard, organizing this and for asking me to share my experience in this group.
My pleasure.
Now, I want to start by sharing my screen, please.
Yeah.
Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Can you see
Yes, I can.
my screen?
Yes.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, so I'll be talking about an experience in an African context and specifically working from Cameroon and having to manage mentor teachers across 3 different African countries. So I want to start this by kind of linking it to Ravi's experience. I enjoy Ravi's structuring of his cohort into groups, which is something which I did, and sport mentoring, and I did online mentoring. So there are different experiences here. So the question which I would really want to ask here is on mentoring large groups of teachers. That is it too necessary to share this experience here? And I'll start by saying the experience which teachers get from pre-service education is insufficient to respond to the issues that teachers experience in the classroom. And at the same time, there is a greater need for teachers to be autonomous in managing these issues. So if we don't get many teachers involved in mentoring, then we're going to continue to have many classroom problems, with the teachers hoping that the solution will come from elsewhere. So there is a dire need for us to be engaged in mentoring teachers. And if we want many teachers to be autonomous in their practice, then we must be ready to mentor a large group of teachers, especially in Africa, where teacher research is still very new. Now, the value of teacher research. If we look at the value of teacher research, we realize that the potentials that it develops, the kind of things that it does to teachers, what teachers do after being mentored, after doing teacher research, is a sufficient argument for us to engage in mentoring teachers. Now, the question is large group. I want to see a large group here in terms of the characteristic features of the group and the kind of issues you have to deal with. Although 5 to me would be a small group, 10 would be a small group. So anything above 10, 20 to me it's a large group. And I'm talking about mentoring a large group of teachers in an African context where transmission pedagogy is the order of the day and implemented. Now, in 2021, we had a sponsorship from the Cameroon Research Group, had sponsorship from RACIG to organize a teacher research conference. And in this teacher research conference, I had 6 mentees who presented, but we had a lot more from the work that from the teachers who were mentored by Professor Rama Matthew in Sierra Leone. So I got some of them, and together with my own 6 teachers, we had a conference. Now, the intention of that conference was to create a broad awareness of teacher research in Africa. Explosive number of 72 teachers who signed up, who attended the conference and developed inspiration to do teacher research. Now, I had 72 to deal with 2 problems at a given point in time to deal with. Now, for me to manage the 72 teachers, I had different groups, teams. We got to the teams was democratic and elected their team leaders. And then the other thing that they did in the teams was they gave their teams names, like you find group 1 here, classroom research, group 2 teacher researchers, group 3 game changers, group 4 active researchers, and group 5 building better teachers. They gave their names, had their mottos and their logos. For example, if you find here, you see the teacher researchers group. This was their logo. They developed this. And now the reason for which I did this was to kind of I wanted to start developing a kind of dynamic in group and interaction. Now, what was at the back of my mind conceiving, mentoring this group this large group? My orientation was based on this statement I got from Simon Bock's work, and that I should find ways of introducing teacher research in a way that does not obviate them the need for rigor and quality, without at the same time making it an undertaking which most practitioners perceive unfeasible. So I was kind of trying to keep away from this whole project-based teacher research and creating a context in which teachers will interact and develop greater insights without being under the scrutiny of time and the cognitive levels of the various stages of teacher research. That was my orientation. And when we had this team, the next thing to do was to develop a way through which the team leaders could have ownership of the whole project. And so we worked together to develop a calendar of events. And on this calendar of events, you have dates, we have contents, and then we have different moderators, and we have outcomes. That means deliverables at each stage, which were expected. This is what we did together with the teachers. So they can have, with the team leaders, so they can develop agency in the things that we were doing in the group. Now we had interaction on WhatsApp, through WhatsApp. And like I said, having to do with 72 teachers meant at even given point in time, you have to respond to 72 questions. And we had this enormous challenge in WhatsApp because at every point in time, I was on the board answering a question. But again, the teachers, the way I reduced these problems was I worked with the group team leaders behind the scene, and part of the questions which were going to come from the general group were discussed in different groups of our meeting schedule. Now, the calendar of events which we just saw there was for the general group, but each group had different times during which they met online. And like I said, this was purely an online event. So my interest here on general WhatsApp platform was to address issues which the team leaders could not address in their various teams, and to oversee situations where wrong hypotheses about certain things were formulated. Now, this was a characteristic. This is what I learned from the characteristic nature of the WhatsApp communication. We're building internal group dynamics and encouraging peer support and collaboration, disseminating pre-session webinar content. This is what we were doing on WhatsApp, announcing the focus of the next meeting, setting clear instructions, growing confidence and autonomy, providing general support feedback and specific stages of teacher research. These are the kind of things which we're generally doing on WhatsApp. Now, the next question, why did we have recurrent webinars? Now, we had structured this project to be to reflect input and output sessions. And in input sessions, there were different things that we're doing, like answering questions, providing information, and in output sessions, participants or the mentees had to share what they had done online, and we developed that to be in the form of conferences, so that participants start building presentation skills right from the base. And so we had exposure, which I developed from Becker's work in 2020. Then we're reinforcing general understandings of teacher research concepts and generating and building content and confidence, and then disseminating the work that the teachers, the mentees themselves had generated. We realized, and we came up with this because we realized that each time a teacher shared the work that they had done, they develop a different kind of identity and develop more confidence. So we built on this to make sure that we had regular webinars. And in our webinars, we would invite mentors. For example, Anna sometimes was invited, Sedan was invited, Ruben was invited, and Ernesto this time was invited to launch this year's cohort. So this was the kind of thing which we were doing to inject steam into the group. Now, the processes of our webinar, this is something I want to pay particular attention to, how we conceived the webinars. I usually crafted text from Richard's work, 2020 work on mentoring teachers. And I was sending to the different team leaders, discuss with the different team leaders, they work with their respective groups. Now, when they come to the webinars, I'll get my previous mentees and other mentees. Sometimes I got mentees from India, for example. I got Gloria and Ekta. They share who had completed the exploratory teacher research project. They would share their make a presentation, and then in breakout rooms, everybody reflects on the presentations and the text that they had worked on. So the idea here was to link the presentation with the information that they had obtained, the cognitive knowledge they built from working on the text. And when we came back to the plenary sessions, we'll be talking about how the presenters linked, how the presenters developed their work in line with what they learned from the texts. Now, we realized that these webinars, what we realized from all of this was that structuring the whole group into teams and sharing responsibilities reduced the number of questions that I had to answer from everybody. And then brainstorming on the calendar of events together with the teams, coding and sharing it with them for endorsement gave them a sense of ownership and responsibility. They became more agentive in the work. And then creating learning circumstances in webinar sessions and output sessions built confidence in the mentees. And then that was one way through which we developed their presentation skills and reconstructed their identities. Now, what I take from all of these, working with team leaders to process tasks and collaborate with their team members can potentially instill confidence and lead to sustainable output, because the idea is that they continue working even when we don't have the webinars, and they're working like doing group work, like we would have group work in the classroom, like Richard reflected a while ago. And this was one way through which we made teacher research not a one-time event in a month, but a continuous process. So it became a lifestyle. Now, allowing participants to develop their competence at a flexible pace and asking specific members to lead sessions created more learning opportunities and made them see teacher research as not an additional workload. Using successful mentees to inspire others, learning to blend personal communication, WhatsApp meetings, and Zoom presentations enabled us to mediate group dynamics. That's one way through which we built a community of mutual participants who had mutual responsibilities. And now, if you want to try it, if you want to try this, mentoring a large group of teachers, this is my approach. You define and create a large group first, and then you create opportunities for developing participants' meta knowledge. You create opportunities for them to act and reflect. And then you let them act and talk and self-regulate. Now, what does this mean to me? This means instead of structuring problems and then working with participants at a particular point for them to articulate classroom problems, I'd let them reflect more on how to articulate classroom problems using all the senses involved and using multimodal resources. Now, my idea here is that this reduces the stress that goes with having to meet deadlines, teacher research deadlines, in terms of the different stages. It reduces that stress and allows participants to generate knowledge from within them. The other thing that I would suggest is a useful thing to do using this approach is that participants interacting among themselves instills a sense of trust and confidence amongst them and allow them to generate knowledge which is not developed from the top, which is not produced from the top. And like I said a while ago, I'm dealing with the context in which teachers, their educational processes are built on taking what is said and acting on it. But the approach that we are using here is one in which we allow teachers to generate the knowledge that they have to learn. They have to learn and share what they've generated and then develop a sense of autonomy and achievement from what they're sharing. And again, this is what I'm struggling not to go above time. And I would say this is what I put together. Thank you so much.
Okay, thanks very much, Eric. That's really, really interesting. Also to see parallels, maybe differences with Ravi's experience. And as you said, this is an online. That's a major difference from Ravi's experience. But we see some of the same characteristics of this use of groups. And I guess I've got another, kind of question like, the team leaders do seem to be very important, in managing the large group for yourself, so you don't have to deal with 70 students. Do you have separate meetings with team leaders to discuss what's going on? You emphasize strongly.
Definitely, yes. And that was particularly targeted because I realized that the previous mentees that I had, there were a number of things which they were still struggling with, even though they had completed the teacher research projects. So I realized that it is difficult to at a certain point in time to pinpoint all what mentees have learned after completing a project.
Yes.
There are questions that come up. So I was using that as one way of reinforcing what they have learned and then allowing them to generate that knowledge within their group.
Yes, yes. And you've emphasized very strongly this kind of bottom-up feeling of agency and and co-construction of your project really, and very interesting to hear about how you feel it's getting away from this project idea of deadlines. And I know that you feel strongly about the importance of doing that, and that came across very, very strongly. I invite everybody to think of your questions, keep your questions in your mind, but just for reasons of time, we'll move on now to. Thank you very much, Eric, and we'll move on now to Vinayadhar. To hear about your experience, Vinayadhar, in Telangana. If you can join us, yeah?
Yeah, it's Vinay.
Fantastic.
Am I clear?
Yes, we can.
This is Vinay.
Hi. Go ahead. You want to share your screen?
Yeah, I'm doing that.
Okay. And this is another kind of context, isn't it? This is in a teacher association, which Vinayadhar runs, Alta Telangana. Okay, we can see your slide.
Please unmute, Vinay.
Can you unmute? Vinayadhar, we can't hear you. Oh.
Is my voice clear now?
Yes. It seems that when you share your slides, we can't hear you. This is the problem.
Taking too much time to load.
Oh, okay, we can hear you. Yeah.
Maybe my connectivity is slow also. That may be the reason, because I'm using two devices. Is it not clear now? You are not able to view my slides?
Not yet, but please start, and we'll tell you when it comes. Okay.
I can do it.
If you can quickly send it to me, I can share your slides, Vinay. You can keep talking.
Just a minute, I will do that.
Yeah.
Maybe my connectivity is slow, I think so. That is the reason. Just I shared it, sir.
Okay.
Good evening, all of you. And this is Vinayadhar Raju from Telangana. I'm leading an ELTA, English Language Teachers Association in Telangana state. So this is not a journey of only myself, and there is a lot more people behind me, and we are working together as a group. So I'm presenting on behalf of my entire group and ELTA. There are mentors and teacher researchers. So we are working collaboratively together, and we are all belong to the same community and the same context. So almost 100%, all of them are working in the government school teachers, and they are all teachers. No one is from the university and the college education. All are working from the school, from teaching from the class 6 to 10. So actually our journey started in 2013 or the 14 that I attended the EVO, Electronic Village online course. Richards conducted an action research course there. So I did an action research and I presented at the end of that course. This is the beginning of our journey as a teacher researchers. And then the next stage is that, and I have joined the teacher researcher as an arms project funded by the British Council and mentored by the Santosh Mahapatra, and the Richards was the super mentor by that time. So this is the second stage. So where I did one more classroom based action research, and then later, and we applied for the mentor. So after completing the two teacher researcher activities, and then I go for the mentoring the teacher researchers, and with this experience, and I got the approval from the British Council and also received the funding. Then I have taken the 5 teachers from our state, Telangana, to take up this action research. And this is our journey, 2014 EVO, only one person is there. And the second part is the ARMS teacher researcher. I joined as a teacher researcher there in the ARMS project under the mentorship of Santosh Mahapatra. Then I applied for the mentoring the teacher researchers. There I have mentored the 5 teachers. Then these 5 teachers will become mentors in the next Hanbi ARMS project again, where we have applied as an Hanbi Teacher Association project. So then where we have mentored 5. So first one is the myself and other 5 teacher researchers who have completed the research. And then the next stage, they become the mentors. And each one we have taken a 4 teacher researchers and started mentoring around 25 plus 6. Then the next year, this 23 and the 24 and 25, we have already applied for the ARMS again in collaboration with the NIIT Warangal 2024. Here, these out of these 25, again they have joined as a mentors. So we became 11 mentors now, 1 and 10. Then we have selected the even non-language teachers this time. So in the 2022, 2017 and all that, only the English language teachers. But this year we are mentoring the teachers from the other subjects also, maths, physics, biology. These teachers are also included to take up the classroom-based action research. Actually, we have taken the 50 members initial stages with the experience of 23 and 20. We have taken the more number because there are teachers who are dropping out in the middle. We don't know the reason, but we have find out the reasons also. But 30 remain at the end. So the 20 is the dropout percentage. Now we are continuing with that, and in future also we want to continue with the without funding also, because we have a mentor group of around 20 now, and there are teacher researchers of around 50 to 60. So definitely we will continue without funding from any other agencies also. So next slide. This is our journey. Now we are group, not one. So Vinayadhar Raju will teacher Association of Telangana. So generally, while planning is very important for executing these kind of projects, so selection is very key for us. So we are already connected 31 districts in the Telangana states through a WhatsApp groups, and ELTA will have its working bodies in each and every districts. So we have created a Google form and shared in the WhatsApp groups, so that the teachers who are interested and professionally active registered through them. And sometimes we have also chosen some of the friends who are active in other subjects, maths teacher who is acting as a resource person and who is learning continuously, and these people we have selected, and based on that, and we have created a WhatsApp groups also with all these. Generally each mentor has taken the 3 to 5 teachers in each group. So like that, they have their own WhatsApp groups, and we have a one large group with all these mentors and the teacher researchers in it, and the 50 teacher researchers and the 11 mentors in the one single group also. And each mentor will have his personal WhatsApp group also. So this is for the communication. And even we asked the subject wise WhatsApp groups also. Suppose there are maths teachers are the 5 or 6 in number in the entire project. So we ask these 5 maths teachers to form a one group so that they can share their own experiences of taking up the classroom based research also. So this is how we have planned. And then the creating the project line also. So we have created the deadlines for this, for creating the analyzing, creating the question and finalizing the question and the next stage. So when do they have to do, and when do we have our monthly meeting, progress meetings also. Generally we organize the online meetings through Zoom and the Google Meets regularly. Even mentor also, he organizes his own meetings with the teacher researchers. Sometimes we organize the meetings and the progress presentations with the teacher researchers and invite all the teacher researchers and all the mentors to attend those meetings. So this is how we progress. And we also plan for a face-to-face sessions also. Generally through our projects, we plan 3 sessions. One is the induction program for the initial stages of the project, and the second one is the midterm project progress for the face-to-face, and the last one is the dissemination event. So now in the present project, we are going to conduct the second face-to-face in the 16th, tomorrow Sunday, in NIT Warangal. So these are the 3 that we are planning. Next, conducting the progress meetings. This is a common every week, sometimes every month, we go on organizing. If some teacher is ready to share his progress, then we immediately create a Zoom link and share it in the WhatsApp groups, so that others will join and attend his progress and also give him suggestions and what are the challenges that he faced, so that they will learn from each other. This is how we are collaborating with the teacher researchers and also encouraging them. And most of the time teacher researchers are very motivated when we are asked them to present it online. So because teachers are ready to teach something to the others instead of learning them. So this is a key aspect of motivating the teachers. And also we create the posters for them, even for the progress presentations also. We create the posters and share it in the WhatsApp group that this is the teacher that he is doing action research and so topic. And this on the day he is going to present online. Please join that. So these posters are shared in all the WhatsApp groups so that other teachers and even normal teachers will also join that. This is how we are planning and the working in it. So we also conducted a pre-project survey also before starting of the projects. So there is a questionnaire and created using a Google form. So the teachers will answer those questions, and this will conduct at the end of the project also. So this is, we can use it for the mentoring experiences, how they were at the beginning of the project and what are the changes that do we observe at the end of the project. So these things we can assess by conducting the project pre-survey and the post-survey also. So there are stages for each planning. So first stage is the brainstorming. So most of the time trainings, in-service teacher trainings with the government. So generally what happened there in the in-service teacher trainings, they will attend the training and they will go. But nobody will allow them to check whether whatever you have learned in the training are implementing in the classroom or not. But the action research is entirely different. Instead of learning and gaining from the induction training, They have to take up something in the classroom, they have to try out and do it and collect the evidences and writing reflections. So this is a difficult task for the most of the teachers. Initially they are ready to join in the project, but after the induction training and when we ask for the progress, so then they are not responding to the messages in the WhatsApp group. Sometimes they may say that I'm busy in some other works and I cannot continue in the projects. And these are the things that, but even though there are teachers who are still interested to continue in that, so we need to motivate them throughout the project, because every stage is very crucial. And we also encourage every teacher, even though if you are not doing the research, don't worry about that, but be in the group. So it is also learning, because most of them, they will listen, they will watch what is happening, even they silently attend the webinars and they silently watch the progress presentations, but they will learn, but they are not ready to do the things on their own. So don't worry about that. That is also the learning. But the next project, if you will take up, definitely these people will take an active role. This is our past experience. We came to know that even while mentoring the 20 teacher researchers in the Hanbi, there are also 30-40 teachers, but these teachers will join the next project. So that's why we always ask them to don't worry too much about that if you are not able to do that, but be there in the group and follow what is happening in the group, so that you will learn something out of that. This is definitely helpful for you. So this is how we motivate them. And at every stage, we ask them to share their progress through online. Most of our sessions are online only, because sometimes they may also complain that ELTA is always online only. You are organizing so many online meetings. This is also a complaint from the event teacher, researchers and teachers. But organizers are also struggling, and all my mentors, so already there, most of them have already joined in the meeting. Sampath, Mamata, Lakshman, TV Rao sir, and Irshad Ali, Salomi, Kavita Nirumalla. So these are all my mentor team. They are also working very hard. Every evening we have some meeting by 7 to 8 or 8 to 9, like that. Even one teacher is ready for the presentation, all the mentors are ready to listen his progress. So this is how we are motivating and continuing with that. And sometimes even we recorded those presentations and progress presentations and upload it in the YouTube. And later we share them in the WhatsApp group and ask the teacher researchers or the mentor, those who aren't attended, listen those recordings and share the feedback also. This is also motivate them, and they are working together. And this year we are working with the non-language teachers. No, this is again a new kind of experience for us, because we invited the Rama Matthew as a guest for our induction workshop. And she posed a question: how do you mentor these other subject teachers? How you are not aware of their pedagogy, and how do they teach in their classroom and all these things? Then we have told them that, ma'am, this is how we learn together. So as English language teachers, we also learn from them. So we are not going to tell them anything, do that, but how they will think and how they will do in the classroom, based on that we will learn. So this experience we will share together and we will grow together. But initially all the other subject teachers, even our mentors, also confused a lot how to frame a question for other subject teachers. And particularly we are focusing on the multilingualism concept. So how the mathematics teacher is using his mother tongue support to make the students to learn the mathematical principles. Even social studies teacher also using mother tongue. So these three became a more complex in the initial stages, but after 2 months and the 3 months, everybody start internalizing this. Okay. Only thing is that we are doing everything in the classroom. Engaging the students is also important aspect of making the students to learn. Now we are adding another elements to it, that is taking the support of the mother tongue. Whether you are teaching a reading English, so how you will take the mother tongue support while teaching reading comprehension to your students, making it a more meaningful. If suppose you are teaching writing also, how you will take or incorporate the mother tongue to make the meaning out of it, so that the students can write the better understanding. Even the maths teachers are also, while teaching the mathematics, and how do they take the mathematical problems in the English, so they will take the mother tongue support and to comprehend the problems, and so that they can solve easily. So these are the different areas. Even the mathematics teachers, biology teachers, and social teachers have taken the maps reading. So there are vocabulary which are very complicated for the mother tongue when compared with the English social studies words. So they use the mother tongue and they translated these things and started teaching. So this is how we are progressing with the, even other subjects are also actively taking part.
Great. Could you tell us?
And another important aspect to motivate them is the inviting the guests. Sometimes we organize the webinars by inviting the guests from other area. Even Ravi sir also gave a session for our teacher researchers on how to analyze the data after exploration stage. So they are thinking of how to categorize the data they have collected from the teachers and the students. Then Ravi sir has taken that, and he also shared the insights of strategies for bilingualism and the multilingualism in the ESL classroom. So these things they have after attending these guest sessions, and they started using those things in their action phase, and collaborating with the professional bodies. Even in our second and third projects, we collaborated with the Maharashtra team also. Manjusha is there, no? We invited the Manjusha mentors and the teacher researchers to our, and we also attended and gave a sessions to them. So like this, we are even collaborating with other professional bodies also, and conducting sessions on the use of technology, because some teachers are struggling to prepare their PPTs also. Because for progress presentations, they need a PPT. So we are taking a separate sessions for them, how to prepare a PPT and how to use the
Shall we just move to the
how to
challenges?
create a Google Classroom forms, and all these things are also included.
Let's think of
so challenges that we are facing is the time management and documenting and reflecting. So generally we ask them to share their reflections. Hello.
Sorry to interrupt, Vinay. It's just that
Am I not clear?
Because of time, shall we just finish with the?
So these are the common challenges.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So these are some challenges generally we face: time management and coping deadlines. So these are the responsibility sharing, what the teacher researchers have to do and what the mentors have to do. So we have defined our duties and responsibilities, and based on that, we started working on that. Okay, next.
Yeah.
Sorry to stop you, Vinayadhar, just because of the time.
It's okay.
Please, let's have a look at the challenges, Ravi, if you don't mind. Thank you, Ravi, for sharing the slides. Thank you very much, Vinayadhar. That's amazing, actually, what you've been doing, and that history over 10 years or so is really amazing. And it's very interesting to see how, because you've been doing it for that length of time, some things have developed. For example, teachers becoming mentors is something that often does happen. And then also the way you have been moving into doing this with teachers of other subjects. It also seems to happen when something is happening over a period of time, like you have been doing. And one thing I think everybody finds amazing is the amount of energy and time that you yourself and your mentors put into this. So my question is, why? I mean, what do you get from this? Why have you put so much of your time and energy into this experience?
Actually, we are not getting anything, but we are continuously learning from all these things, and we are making the new connections, and our networking is increasing, and we also helping other teachers to do and experiment and innovate in the classroom. And as a group, we are working together, not an individual, and everybody will have their own and their responsibilities. So student have some work and some other will take the responsibility. So like that, we are working together as a group, not one person.
So there's the joy.
And the new people are also joining us after watching our work. So it's a community of practice. We are growing together.
And the value or the pleasure or the learning that goes on for you is very important, and the positive energy that comes to you sounds important. Yeah. Thank you so much. Well, all three of you have been very, very inspiring, I think, in what you've been sharing, and we just applaud your commitment to such large groups of teachers. I'm sure that the listeners have questions, and I'd like to invite anybody really to ask. Oh, well, maybe quickly, Ravi, do you have any thoughts listening to Vinaya, or and Eric, I'll ask you the same question, and then Vinay. Ravi, do you want to comment at all or say anything?
Yeah, I thought Vinay is doing an excellent job of creating a community of teacher researchers as well as mentors.
Yeah.
So yeah, the way he is expanding this community, it is amazing, really.
And
Great.
a teacher association, of course, enables that sustainability, doesn't it, over time? Thank you, Ravi. Eric, did you have any quick comments about Ravi or about listening to Vinaya?
Well, generally, I think it's interesting to see to notice that what we're struggling to do here, someone is also putting in a lot of energy elsewhere doing it. It makes at a certain point I feel like I'm not alone in this business.
Yeah.
And his approach to developing mentors is the fastest way of creating a teacher research impact within the community, and I admire that a lot.
So yes, so this focus on developing mentoring abilities, or that group of mentors, you have 11 mentors now who you can rely on, and I think you're doing that, Eric, as well, but maybe implicitly, but you can see what Vinay has achieved and something for the future. Vinay, anything you to say about Ravi or about Eric?
Yeah, Ravi sir, most of the Ravi sir's teacher researchers also will join our project because they are from Telangana teachers only, no? So mostly if they completed their research there in the RI Bangalore, definitely they will become an active resource in the ELTA again. So like Sunita, there are teachers who did the first action research in the RI, and then they continue to working with the ELTA, and they are also supporting us. This is how we are getting benefited from the Ravi sir team also. And the Eric team is also very appreciable, and Eric's work is also, so he also developing the mentors, and the new mentors are being added to his team, and this is how they are learning together and growing together. Good, keep up the good work, Eric. Right, thank you.
It's nice to see the connections across different contexts, and that's really interesting that some of the teachers that Ravi teaches then become a member of the association. Yeah, sustainability. Well, thank you. Let me ask anybody to comment or to ask a question. Anybody else? Just put up your hand.
Hello.
Yeah, hello.
Yeah, hello. I am Bachu Bernard from Cameroon, and I would like to know, how do the different mentors manage discipline within their groups? That is the first question. And the second question I would like to ask is, what has been done to make sure that teachers who don't take part in the teacher research can benefit from the results of the process?
Good question. So, Bachi, let me just clarify. When you said how do they manage discipline, what do you mean by discipline of the teachers? What do you mean?
The discipline I'm talking about, you might have some teachers who are disruptive within the groups, yes, who are actually taking others to the opposite direction. And so how do they manage this?
Yeah. Does that happen with you, Ravi, at all?
I mean, I don't face any discipline issues. I mean, teachers generally are not disruptive in our context, but there are teachers who are not motivated enough to do this kind of research, who don't want to reflect. And I mean, sometimes it is disturbing analyzing their own classrooms, critiquing their practices. It's slightly disturbing, but we'll have to push them and then see how best we can work with them.
Yeah, I can connect with Bernard's question. It's a contextual issue. In a context where your successes pose a threat rather than an inspiration to the next person, that you become some kind of target, and what they try to do is to pull you down. And one way through they pull you down is to use members of the group. And I'm sure that this is, I think very much this is where Bernard is coming from, because he seems to understand there's a contextual issue. and in the current cohort, I'm mentoring. A previous mentee on whom we spent a lot of time and energy sends a text to the group to dissuade the members, the current mentees. And unfortunately for him, the taste of the pudding was so nice that he could not dissuade the other members. I'm talking about a current experience. Bernard is part of this cohort we're talking about. So I think the question is not unfounded. It comes from experience. The only thing I can say is that this is a volunteer activity. And what we're doing is kind of giving value to our own job as teacher educators. And we are so used to classroom indiscipline that it can't be a point of discouragement to us, cannot discourage us. Now, what I have personally done in my group is that I move on, and the successes of the current mentees manage the indiscipline. So I've not got time to go addressing indiscipline. I work more to make sure that the current group, the group I'm working with, they produce. When they produce and others see it, that automatically deals with indiscipline. Now,
Thank you.
about impact. When you're running a project which is not funded, like mine, like the things I've been doing in teacher research across time, I don't recruit mentees. I'll start with my conferences and then invite potential mentees to be part of the conference, and then they develop interest in what they see their peers doing, and that's how I recruit members into the group. Bernard was one of them. I asked him to follow the conference, one of our webinars, and observe if he had a comment. And immediately after the webinar, he said he wanted to be a teacher researcher too. And that's how he became one of very productive teacher mentees that we have today.
Yeah, thank you, Eric. So this power of example has come through all of your presentations, really. The power of showing examples of success, as Ravi mentioned, the power of showing examples of teachers from the same context who have gone through this process. And that may be a very strong motivating factor for other teachers. And that comes after the first year. First year is always a bit confusing or a bit troubling, but then you have examples from the previous year, and that continues. And I think that came through from all of your stories. Vinayadhar, did you want to add anything?
Yeah, so like a classroom, even teacher researcher group is also an heterogeneous. So everybody will have a different belief systems. So that is the problem. So as a mentor, we need to understand them and not to judge. So this will address all the issues that are related to this indiscipline and all other things. Because some believe that the grammar is the strong area so that the child can learn the language. So he will always try to incorporate the grammar elements into the action research only. But the time will solve all this. Once he enter the exploration stage, so you will start rethinking about your belief system. So that will definitely address, by the end of the project, you will definitely find the change in his attitude and the behavior and all other things. We have to guide them personally and talking to them over the phone and interacting with them. So these will solve all these problems. Right. Thank you.
So there is inevitably, I think Ravi said as well, that inevitably some disturbance of cognitive disturbance as you go through a process of challenging your beliefs through the process of inspired action research. And sometimes it may not be disruptive, obviously, but there may be some objection, some protest, etc. And that's part of the process, is I think what you're saying.
Suppose in a recent project, we are asking the language teachers to take the support of the mother tongue. So most of the time, English teachers consider the using of mother tongue in the classroom is a crime. So everybody says no. So if you start using Telugu or the mother tongue in the classroom, student never learn English.
Yeah.
So we have to give them an exposure in English so that the child will learn. But after 1 or 2 months, and after all discussions and brainstorming and questioning and exploratory questions and all other things, so most of them started accepting that the mother tongue will definitely help them in the process of meaning making. So it's a slight line where output must be in English, but in the discussion process and the brainstorming, we can take the support of the mother tongue.
Yes, thank you. And being tolerant and supportive of one another is important, and
Yeah,
that they are discovering things for themselves. They're not just being told
that's
what
it.
they should
We
be
have to
doing.
provide yeah, that's
Thank
true.
you
That's
very
true.
much. I know that Anna would like to ask a question. Would you like to ask your question, Anna?
Hello, thanks everyone. That was all very interesting for different reasons, because you're working in slightly different ways. I noticed that all of you devolved responsibility, shed it out by having mentors, either self-selected or selected randomly, or I think in Eric's case, and I think in Vinay's case as well, the previous mentees who have become mentors. And Eric spoke about allowing them to act and self-regulate. And my question would be, what happens if they don't self-regulate, if they don't act? Because that has an impact on teachers. Or is it just a question of giving them time and space? Ravi, in your case, you can't give them time and space because you have a month.
It does, and that is where the mentors, the local mentors we have created, that's where they have a lot of work to do. They support a lot at that level, and I've had mentees who explain that, well, they had challenges along this line, and then this person or that person supported them. Now, self-regulation normally is an independent activity. But you can't underestimate the power of group in causing self-regulation. You can't underestimate it. And that is why I'm using more groups, more group work. And they do these group activities independently. I mean, I'm talking about the previous cohort. They did a lot of group work within their own time. They found their own time to do it. Now, one thing that happened, which was reported to me, was situations where the mentees couldn't cross a particular level because their understanding of data collection was strongly associated with questionnaire. And then the mentors who had collected data through focus group discussion tried as much as possible to share their own presentations so the mentee can learn from it, and it still didn't work, and so they came back to me. And so that's where I started asking reflection questions to the mentee. And then through those reflection questions, the mentee realized that questionnaire was not the best option, that there were other options, more appropriate options. Now, I didn't tell the mentee that you have to abandon your questionnaire alignment and move towards another option. Now, multiple instances of interaction with different mentees or with mentors or in small groups have a very strong effect in causing that. But I've not had I've not had many cases where self-regulation didn't take place. Now, I must admit that at a certain point, I step in to produce tasks for specific mentees so they can get the content and change and automatically and have a feeling that, well, they have to leave this and follow some other thing. Sometimes I've had to do that, but then it goes with time. It goes with time and energy to do that. So this is why, like, in a nutshell, I'm kind of saying you always have instances like in a classroom where differentiated instruction is very necessary.
Yeah, thanks, Eric. Thank you for your response. I think maybe I'd ask Ravi and Vinayadhar also also, it may be the last question. I know, Selen, you'd like to ask. Maybe you have a final comment and question, Selen. But just to ask Ravi and Vinayadhar also, what about the mentor training? You know, how can you help mentors to become better mentors? Because it does seem that you rely on those group leaders, in your case, Ravi, or the mentors that you have.
So
You rely on them
at the beginning of the at the
to help
beginning of
manage
our
them.
project, yeah, may I?
Sorry. Yes.
At the beginning of our project, and we have asked every mentor to take the one chapter on the mentoring the teacher researchers and conducted the webinars, so that everybody will read one chapter and they will share it online, so the other mentors will join that, so that they will understand the entire book. And this is the strategy that we have followed. And also we have sometimes mentored together, not a one mentor. So two mentors together work together, and they will mentor the 5 to 6 teachers like that. So suppose if some mentor may not able to address the issue, so other mentor may helpful each other. And also we have a large group again. All the mentors and the teacher researchers are in the same WhatsApp group. So if anything is raised, even other teachers and other mentors may also address. This is how we can learn together. Yeah, this is the strategy that we want.
So learning through co-mentoring is one aspect. That's interesting. Yeah, Ravi?
Yeah, maybe, I mean, I don't know, during training and post-training, we engage these teachers, but pre-training, nothing is happening. So maybe we should think of, I mean, sending a questionnaire and then checking their competencies, year competencies. I'm not sure. So pre-training, something can be done, or depending on previous teacher cohorts, I mean, that can also help.
Something for the future to think about.
Yeah.
Thank you. Seden, I'd like you to bring it together, if you don't mind. I know you want to.
Okay, starting with Ravi's latest point, I can see that the questioning is going on. There's an exploratory action research going on, inspiration going on, and learning is happening even at this webinar. I truly thank you. I mean, Ravi, Eric, Vinat, amazing efforts and joyful service, lots of learning happening. I can connect with you really. And about the giving your heart thing, I would say once you introduce reflective mindset to the mentee, to the student teacher, whoever the mentee is, I think they start complaining. Like they realize that complaining is not the final end. They realize that they can do something. They have the potential to be doers, the agents, and then I think they become a community of learners. I mean, for all of us, and give themselves, give their hearts. So this avoids the distraction problems, I think. Then everyone feels trust to share their challenges, concerns, and dialogue in my context solves everything, like making them heard, listened to. And these groups, large groups, I know them from my prior classes, student teachers. The same happens. I didn't specifically choose leaders, but the more successful students would voluntarily help other student teachers. So just having this system, I can see that you have systemized everything throughout time, and you are really evolving on your way to make things better and better. Heartfelt congratulations.
Okay, I think I agree completely. I think we all agree with that, and it's been fascinating to hear of these large groups, and of course, large groups, large classes. We may think they're about the difficulties, but I think we've seen the positive aspects of working with a large group which becomes a community, and that collaborative aspect and that helping one another aspect that you've emphasized, Sedem, has come through really, really clearly today. I think it's been a really amazing session. Thanks so much for sharing, and we're going to say goodbye now. Thank you very much.
Hello, Richard.
Yes.
Please, I didn't get a response for my second question when I asked that what has been done to make sure that teachers who don't take part in the research can benefit.
Okay, well, that's okay. Thanks, Bennett. Well, thanks for okay. Some people are leaving, but yeah. Eric, do you want to answer
Yes.
quickly? Yeah.
Yes. Bernard, one of the things that we started suggesting, talking about with the mentors is that they can organize. And the first thing I checked with the local mentors that I created was their role in their respective departments. Some of them are heads of department, and I started talking to them about sharing their own work in their departmental meetings. And through that, their colleagues might benefit from what they're doing, or maybe come up. And I realized that in this present group we're working with, Melanie's colleague came on board, and then at a certain point she disappeared, but she expressed her desire to do this. So this is one way through which we can do it. Another way is through disseminating the content, sending the content that we've generated through maybe WhatsApp and through Google Doc links. So teachers can read what we've done and then try to implement it. But Bernard, you and I can have a chat over a bottle of beer if you like after that.
Great, thanks very much. Thanks very much, Eric. And I've just put, yeah, of course, sharing the experiences is a very important aspect, so that others can learn from these experiences. I just put a quick link into the chat for you, Bernard, because these are some examples of different parts of the world, and including some of the speakers today. So thanks very much, all of you. Bye-bye. Bye. Bye-bye. Bye, Arno. What do you want to say, Arno? You put up your hand. Or did you mean to, was that a single hand clapping? Like in Zen Buddhism? It's the sound of a single hand clapping. Yes? Okay, I understand. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thanks, Eric.
Thank you all.
Great to have
Thank you all.
Thanks,
Thank
Ravi.
you.
Thank you, Vinayadhar. That was really amazing. Good. And we'll share the video so that others can hear. Thanks very